In this video, we coached through one of my friends who is a recent new grad with an interview at one of his dream companies, Shopify. He's never interviewed properly and stumbles on the most basic interview question ever. Tell me about yourself. Remember, this is the most standard and one of the most important interview questions ever. It sets the context of the conversation moving forward, and failing this question usually means you'll probably not perform in the interview. Will we be able to coach him to professional ready shape? Or will he stumble like he did in this clip? Let's find out. Also, a small percentage of my viewers who watch my YouTube videos are actually subscribed, so if you end up enjoying this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It's free, and you can always change your mind later. Enjoy the video. We just take a step back, and why don't you tell me a little bit more about yourself?
Okay. I'm going to be honest, answering a question like that is pretty tough.
Okay, do you not know anywhere where to start?
No. Could you just give me like a little pointer with that question, and then we'll try it again?
So it's good that we address this because that's literally the question you're going to get every single time.
Yeah, damn.
in every single company you work for, but I know you know how to answer this, so don't feel discouraged, okay?
Yeah, okay.
So think about the audience. I always answer this question depending on my audience. Like, it's never the same answer every single time. So you're going to work at Shopify, so you want to create a story about tell me about yourself that will help you envision yourself in Shopify. So what I mean by that is, sure, so my name is Faizeen Ali. I'm currently working as an IT project manager at Bridge Wireless Solutions. That company is a blah, blah, blah. I don't know what they do. So this company does this. In general, I found since I've been a student and since I've been even a kid, I've always had this fascination with technology. But more specifically, I've always had this fascination with e-commerce and seeing how businesses, small businesses, large businesses, conduct their businesses online and switch to digital. I've always been fascinated about how Amazon's business model and how they took off quickly. But more specifically, recently, I've always been so invested and interested in how Shopify grew from start.
No, I think I can answer this question.
Okay.
Let's start from the start of this question again. So go ahead and ask me it again.
Okay, cool. I like the confidence. Okay. All right, Faizeen. Obviously, we looked at your resume. We're pretty excited about talking with you. That's why we're doing this. But I briefly took a look at your resume. But why don't you just go ahead and tell me a little bit more about yourself?
Okay. So I am an individual who really has a strong passion for technology as well as innovation. My mission is to help impact other small, medium businesses. I really love to make their lives easier. As you can see in my resume, in the past, I've started a company called Cyberfi Inc. in university, whose goal was to help all these other small businesses start up on these platforms and digitalize, as well as brick and mortar shops. My goal was to help them grow. Watching Shopify, the impact that it's had on a lot of people that I know has been great. My sister's actually started a shop on Shopify. My mom has one as well. And I have a few friends there. And I will never forget the first sales that they got, how happy they were. And it was using the tool of Shopify as well as something that I influenced them to use. So basically, I enjoy innovating.
That's it?
Yeah. Am I supposed to go longer than that or just keep it simple?
50% of your answer was like beyond perfect. Like it was fucking like 120%. Like it was amazing. And then the other 50% was like dog shit. So sorry for being like aggressive there, but
no, that's fine.
First of all, you need to be more assertive about what you did. My sister, blah blah blah, like I influenced them. Don't say I influenced them. I say I set up their Shopify accounts. I set up their Shopify accounts and then got them ingrained in that ecosystem, and now they use it daily for their businesses. And then mention all the other examples. Like mention like 3 or 4 different examples of how you got people into Shopify. And then
Could I just like give example of how I used technology or digitalization to impact other people's businesses, and Shopify being one of the many tools that I use?
Yes, that's fine. That's good. The other thing I wanted to mention is when you said I never would forget their face lighting up, that was fucking like that was gold. Mention that. Say I'll never forget. Like it sounds corny as fuck, but say I'll never forget how their face lit up when they got their first sales, and to see how easy Shopify makes the lives of people like my family or even beyond that. And that whole mission made me super excited about Shopify as a company and its tools.
And I would love to be a part of a company that brings happiness to a lot of other businesses as well.
No, you don't need to say that. Like that's too corny.
Okay.
But saying like I would love to be a part of a company that makes that impact. So that's how you sound less corny, by saying like that has that level of impact. You don't see many companies like Shopify that not only influences its customers and looks out for the best of its customers, but also looks out for the best of the world and blah blah blah. Like if you want to mention their charity stuff, then go for it. You don't have to. That's a little too corny. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is you don't want to completely make it about Shopify. So I would say 40% or 50% of your answer is about Shopify, but then the rest is about you. So then you talk about, so I went to school for business management, but I really focused on the IT management side of things. So that just couples in with like my fascination with technology. I ran an e-commerce business. I sell electronics and I use Shopify, but I also used other platforms, blah, blah, blah. Like just mention all those, list out all those experiences. So the thing you want to convey with your tell me about yourself answer is list out your experiences with e-commerce, your experience with technology, and your experience with and your journey into that. Like it's not something that you just got into recently. This is something that you've been made for. This is something you've been born for. This is something you've been cultivating yourself since the beginning.
Yeah.
And then you can start mentioning other things on the side. So like also mention like I've always been someone that believes in leveling up my skill sets and learning all the time. In my spare time, I pursue certifications and licenses and certifications. Just recently, I completed my CAPM certification, which will help me just be better at managing tasks, managing queues, and managing projects. I also recently completed my Microsoft Power BI. So this is just being well-versed in BI tools and Tableau, SQL queries, and Python. I'm also very comfortable with basic Office 365 suite, email, as well as being very technically versed in Excel. So I just am always firm believer of being extremely technical because that's something that I value, because you're able to participate in those low-level discussions and being able to contribute while I have that larger strategic view in mind. And boom. Like if you mention like a couple of those things, that's all they want to hear.
Okay, yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds simple enough actually when put that way.
Yeah, and just tell your journey. Like all you need to do is tell your journey. I see Bell Canada student intern networking. So tell them about why you took that role and tell them what you learned from it. And you don't need to go too specific in it, just your journey. And then you'd be like, once I finished up my internship at Bell, I went back to school and I couldn't stop this like hunger I had for IT. So I for a year I was Ryerson's IT administrator. So I was the one basically holding up their technology. And then from there, I landed my role at Bridge Wireless Solutions, where I've been fairly successful pretty quickly. I started off as an e-commerce account manager, but I also believed that I wanted to couple my e-commerce skills with my technical skills. So I moved into a systems analyst and inventory control manager role. And then I finally moved into an IT project manager that encompasses all of that. And I was also responsible for bringing Salesforce. Boom. Like, you don't need to mention too much of the specifics, but your answer should be around 2 to 3 minutes where you walk them through your full life journey. And what I mean by life journey is your career journey.
Yep. And
so you need to basically sell them on how you're made and born for this role. And you don't need to do that by sounding needy or desperate. You tell them your story, and that story will resonate with them.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. And this all basically encompasses the part where they ask me the question, tell me about yourself.
Yeah, tell me about yourself as a freaking free throw, man. Because that gives you like the ability to say anything and everything you want. But you don't want to go on too long. But you can get away with going too long if you tell a good story. But if you're not telling a good story, then you're gonna lose them at a certain point. So have a fine balance. The one thing is I don't want you to memorize your answers too much, but if it helps you to memorize, then sure. But if you memorize something, it's gonna be unable for you to put your emotions into it. So you'll just sound scripted. So know your story really well and like just do self-reflection and understand how you're born for this role and think about you performing in this role. So think about how you're gonna perform in this role and convey to them how you're set up for success for this role.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I feel like if I can kill that one answer, tell me about yourself, that's basically the make or break.
Yeah.
That's where I get into all my...
You'll lose them if you give a shitty answer to that.
Yeah,
you don't need to put pressure on yourself on that. It's a very easy question to answer. It's it's easier to get it right than get it wrong. And I told you how to avoid getting it wrong. At the time of posting this video and the aftermath of this conversation, he actually did make it on to the next round of interviews at this very competitive company. So I'm super proud of my friend and I'm super proud of the work that we've done together as this community. If you guys want to join the community and see the work that we're doing together and helping people get jobs and getting employed, please consider following my Twitch at tassim.com or twitch.tv/tassim.com to follow his journey, to follow other highlights, to follow the many, many other people that reached out to me for help. And we're going to work on this together.